guys, it's Sim Queen, and today I am back with another speed build. I feel like it's been a very long time since I've posted a speed build, mostly just because I haven't had a ton of time for building, and when I do, I'm working on this one, and it took me a long time to finish this because it's such a big lot. So this is the final lot for Windslar, is the neighborhood in Windenburg. This is on the 64 by 64 lot, kind of near the, what is that place called? The Von Hunt Estate. I think that's what it's called. So it's that big, huge lot. I knew when I started this that I wanted it to be a large farm, but I was just putting off building it because I knew it would take a very long time, which it did. I started this before the Christmas break. So I had about 2 weeks off around Christmas time, and I spent a lot of time building, and I just dedicated a lot of my free time to sitting down and getting some builds done. So I actually have 3 builds done right now, because after this, I am moving on to the other neighborhood called the Crumbling Isle. It's that sort of island in Windenburg that has the nicer sort of, I want to say modern homes on it, where the bluffs are. So I moved on to that area. I'm on the second lot for the island. And what I like about Windenburg is that each area sort of has its own theme. There's like the community lots, which seem very modern. There is the, what's that neighborhood called? Oh, the Old Platts, I think it's called. That area is really interesting too because it's very historic and it has that sort of Tudor look. And then there's the countryside, and then there's that island, which I imagine, at least for my save file, that the island was always there but never developed. So it's kind of more modern than the rest of the I don't want to say world. Yeah, it is a world than the rest of the world. So yeah, it's got more high real estate, or high-end real estate. A little bit more of a modern lake house vibe is kind of what I'm picturing for that, even though it's not a lake, it's an ocean, but still. Yeah, those houses are going to be quite new compared to the rest of them, so I'm excited to move on to that. And then I have 2 more community lots that I have to do. So I'm going to be renovating the nightclub and the gym. I'll probably do those in one video. And then I have to update the Hare Square Park, which is just going to be a quick reno. All of those will be renovations. I'm not going to rebuild them from the ground up because it's just way too much work. And then I also have to, actually no, I already have renovated the outside of the Von Hunt Estate. So that one, I was going to redo the entire thing, but once I got inside, I realized that I kind of like the historic vibe that it has, so I just did the outside of that. So nothing too special, but I'll probably put a few community lots into one video, just because they won't be as interesting as a residential build. So back to this build, I built a little farm there, or a barn, I guess, and I mean the barns there that I'm playing with right now, those kind of count, but I wanted something my Sims could actually go into and have some objects in, like an old truck, and I just had I guess a vision for a garage for that old barn, so I did actually end up changing the color of it. It was red, but I wasn't really feeling it. It felt almost too old for this build. I feel like this would be an old house for sure, but yeah, the barn just kind of made it look even older than it is. So I did change that, updated a little bit. The floor plan for this house I mostly cut out because it took me a really long time. I find that I'm cutting out the floor plans in most of my videos because they take forever and it's not that interesting to watch anyway. So yeah, there's a little bit of the floor plan. Me placing the stairs, I did decide that this house would have 2 sets of stairs, one sort of grand staircase when you walk in, and then one, sorry, the video's just kind of lagging right now, and then one kind of by near the kitchen in a hallway. So it's a rather large house. It's got, I want to say 5 bedrooms. Yes, I think 5 bedrooms and 3.5 bathrooms, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's the number. The family that will be living in this house is going to consist of a mom, a dad, I think 2 teenagers, and a toddler, I believe. It's been a while since I actually finished this build, and I haven't created the Sims yet for it, so I mean, just bear with me as I try to remember what I had envisioned for this lot, or for this house. And also, I thought maybe they could have some pets. They didn't have many kids because I wanted them to have, I was thinking like 2 dogs and a cat. And then of course they can have like chickens and cows and whatever else. But that's nice because they don't actually count as members of your household, so that is very helpful. So yeah, we can have lots of animals for this lot as well. I had a lot of fun furnishing this because it's just so cluttered up and lived in and cozy, and it's a bit of a mess, but I really enjoyed furnishing this house. It just took me a very long time because I feel like I went for every nook and cranny. I didn't skip any area of this house. I made sure it was full. And I kind of thought maybe this house could have been in the family for a few generations. So it's been around for a while and lots of stuff has been collected and hasn't really been updated. They work a lot outside in their farm, they garden, and then they have their animals, and there's just not a lot of time for updating their house, and maybe they don't want to. I like the feel of this house. I think it's very cozy, and I love that I put some like wall art and paintings above the door frames. I never do that because I think it's so tacky, but for this I think it works out really well. I'm happy with how it turned out, and I feel like this was a good sort of send-off after doing the farmhouse builds, because I really wanted a build where I could just like dive in and use every single item that came with cottage living, and I think I used most of them. Later on when I was building a different house, I realized I missed a couple of things that I wanted to use, but I used almost everything at least twice. So I'm just happy with how it turned out. I also used some things from Country Kitchen and a couple of things that came with the new holiday update, which was like a fruit cake on a platter. There was, what was the other thing? There was like 2 fruit cakes, one on a platter and one on more of like this little display case. So I used that, and the aprons that hang on the wall, those are so cute and they worked really well for this build. So I was happy to have that. And the bathroom, I do make some changes to that. You'll probably notice in the screenshots I made some minor changes. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with this. It just wasn't really coming together the way that I pictured. And I did have a bathtub in there and I took it out, and I think I may have put it back. I can't even remember. The bathrooms are sort of, they're not the star of the show, that's for sure. Sometimes I don't even include screenshots in the build or in the video because they're not that interesting. But that's pretty much it for this bathroom. Then we're on to the living room, which is definitely my favorite room of the house. I used a lot of stuff, like a lot. Lots of like shelves and I want to say mostly bookshelves, but anything that would have like an older wood texture, like that display thing there. I did put I want to say gramophone, but it's not a gramophone. It's a music player. I don't know. I can't remember the term. Obviously, I'm too young to really know what they are, but you'll see me place it just there next to that globe. And then just as much clutter as I could find. A grandfather clock as well, which I always forget about. I forget that we have clocks because they're kind of hidden in the catalog. You have to go looking for them. I never just stumble across them. So I did put a couple of those in as well. I hate that the stairs are clipping through the wall. I've tried to fix it and I couldn't. It was very frustrating. I think I eventually just got rid of the railing on either side and put a wall there, and that fixed it. But yeah, if I had a railing, it was clipping through, so I decided to close it off with a wall. Not really what I wanted to do, but I could not handle that clipping, so I got rid of that. And yeah, you see, I go through the catalog so many times, just picking through and trying to find things that fit the vibe of this build. I also love the wall sconces as well. I think they work really well for the build, and I almost never use those. I just kind of forget that they exist, and they're kind of hard to place. To be honest, you have to kind of use them in the right way, otherwise they look weird. I don't know. Sometimes they look really weird in certain rooms, so I had to be careful with using those. So yeah, just kind of like cluttering things up, placing as many items as I could, lots of plants as well. Yeah, I really wanted to go all out for this build because I haven't spent very much time building lately. I mentioned probably in the last build, I don't even remember when that was, a very long time ago, I mentioned that I had been building a new kitchen space for my work, and I thought at the time that would allow me to have more free time for building. And the opposite happened. What I didn't really take into account was getting even busier now that I'm working full-time for myself. And that's exactly what happened. So life has just been very, very crazy, super busy, which I'm grateful for. When you start a business, you want it to be successful and busy, but I wasn't expecting it. And so I've kind of had to take a break from building. Not so much YouTube and not so much The Sims. I still post my Let's Plays every second day. I sort of had to change my schedule just a little bit because I was posting daily content, and then I realized some days I was just really stressed out trying to make that work, and it just wasn't working for me. So now I'm doing every second day, and if I have extra time, I can post a couple of extras in a week, but mostly I'm just committing to every second day. And that's been working out pretty well, but I still don't have a lot of time for building. So over the break, I made sure to spend as much time as I could building. And I mean, normally when I'm alone, I spend my time recording Let's Plays because I'm finally by myself in my house. I can record with no disruptions. So I'm leaning more towards recording Let's Plays than actually building. So it was nice to have some time to just sit in my office and do some building. I finished this up over the Christmas break, and then I did another build and a renovation and then another build. So I feel like I'm doing good as far as building goes. There will be some regularly posted, I guess you could say, or consistently posted builds, so that will be good. And still posting the Let's Plays as often as I can. I'm still doing the Decades Challenge. We're kind of wrapping it up, sort of. We only have probably one more generation to go. The Aspirations Challenge is just my heart and soul. I love the Aspirations Challenge. It is so fun. And it's a really long challenge because you need each generation to complete a different aspiration, and they keep adding aspirations. So that makes it a little bit difficult, but it's still really enjoyable, and that LP is where my heart lies. I have always, since the days of The Sims 2, I've always played this challenge. It's something I kind of just made up. I call it the Aspirations Challenge. Back in the Sims 3 days, it was actually, what was it called? Lifetime Wishes, I believe. So that's always how I've played The Sims, and to be able to play it and have you guys watch is really fun as well, and I get lots of feedback. So that to me is definitely my favorite LP that I've got going. And then I also have the Not So Berry 2.0 challenge, which is another challenge that I created. And some days I hate myself for it because it's a lot harder than I thought it would be. It's fun, but it's a bit much. I definitely should have thought about the rules a little bit more carefully before I finalized them, but that's alright. I'm still having a good time with it. And of course, I try to make as much time for building as I can. I am still working on my save file. This is all part of my save file. Every single build that I do goes into my save file. And next, after Windenburg, we're going to be moving on to San Myshuno, which I am very excited for. I think San Myshuno is one of my favorite worlds. Not to live in, because sometimes living in an apartment can be just a huge pain, with the noise, rats, earthquakes, all of that can be really frustrating. But to build, San Myshuno is definitely my favorite area. I just love that each apartment can have a different theme, different decoration. It's fun. It's a good time. So I'm looking forward to building there, and it probably won't take as long as Windenburg. This has taken a long time to build because some of the lots are quite large, but in San Myshuno, they're all apartments, so I don't have to build the outside of them. So it's mostly just furnishing, and that doesn't take nearly as much time. So hoping I can get through that fairly quickly. But people keep asking me when the save file will come out, and I laugh because it's going to be a long time. We're only in Windenburg, and of course they still keep adding packs, which adds worlds, and yeah, in my lifetime I may never finish the save file. It depends on how much time I can put towards building. I'm doing my best, but it'll be probably years before my save file is done. It'll always be a work in progress, I think, but it's also something that I look forward to and I enjoy doing, so I don't really mind. I don't really rush through it. I just want to enjoy every build that I do and every world that I'm in while I'm there. I feel like I started this at least 2 years ago, maybe even more. and it's taken me a very, very long time to get to this point. But yeah, it's just fun. I enjoy building almost as much as I enjoy Let's Plays. I just find that sometimes builder's block can really get in the way of things, and it sucks because you feel like you can't come up with anything good, and you're just not in that creative headspace. But for playing The Sims, I feel like I'm always there. I don't need a ton of motivation to play The Sims. I'm always happy to just sit down and play The Sims no matter what. So that comes a lot easier. So now we're on to the outside of the farmhouse. I wanted to make sure that the porch and like the details of the house were, I guess, I don't know. I wanted the flower boxes. I don't even know what those little like bars are at the top of the roof there, but I wanted those. I just wanted it to look very detailed and like it's been around for a long time. So now I'm doing the landscaping, and I took I think it's called a cypress, and I downsized it so they're smaller. And then it gives it kind of like these varying lengths of bushes, which I think that's better than having it all flat. I think I learned that from the Simlicy, if I'm not mistaken. And now I'm changing this barn because I just was not feeling what I had. I think it looks better and it matches the lot a lot better, or the house. And here I'm trying something that I thought would work because it worked in The Sims 3 or The Sims 2, but obviously it did not work. I thought that if I put strips of tiles down and then painted over top with terrain paint, I could remove the strips of tiles and there would be perfect lines, but that did not work. The terrain paint went right under them, so that was a fail, and I had to put in these garden plots, which was fine because I feel like that's going to work out much better anyway. So I put those in, lots of sprinklers. This garden would be a full-time job. You would definitely want to hire a gardener. I think it would take forever. Also, there's a really annoying glitch that happened with the fences. I tried to delete part of the fence, and it just got weird and glitchy. I don't even know how to describe it. I tried to fix it, and it would not happen. So I tried to cover it up with bushes and landscaping, but you can still kind of see them. So if you do download this, you may want to fix that, because I can't tell if it's like a full-on hole and like animals can get through it. I really don't know what's going on there, but it's very annoying. And another thing, I saved the terrain paint for the end. I have learned that the hard way, because I still get that glitch where if I use terrain paint, close my game, and then come back, the terrain paint is gone. Even if I save the build, it still deletes the terrain paint. So I learned the hard way. Now I know. I only do terrain paint at the very end when I know I won't be closing my game, and I can just upload it to the gallery with no issues. So that is unfortunate. I still have that. I was hoping they would fix that glitch, but it's still an issue. And then here I've got a pond, which it didn't flow as nicely with a lot as I wanted it to. I just feel like, I don't know, it works, but not really. Like, it kind of, I don't know. It wasn't exactly what I had envisioned, but I'm still happy with how it turned out. I like the sort of like farm garden area at the front, and I did put in 2 chicken coops and 2 of the cow / llama, what do I even call that? Like a habitat? I put 2 of those in there as well, so they can sort of share that area. And then for the garage, I did go into the debug catalog and found some items that sort of worked for this area. I found like an old rusted car that I put next to the barn, and some tires, and just some other clutter that sort of made the barn look realistic. And it's very dark, and like nobody ever goes in there. I just thought that worked. And I think that's pretty much it for the build, just adding a few details around. And yeah, that's gonna be it. So you can download this house on the gallery. My origin ID is SimQueen1992. If you guys enjoyed this speed build, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.